Well, hi there. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your wonderful patronage tonight. We've got quite a jam-packed session lined up for you in this news broadcast from State House, where there's a new police boss in charge, as well as the IEBC reconstitution dilemma. So this and much more making headlines. We've got you covered. But first, the day's top stories. IEBC reconstitution delays causes jitters. Azimio's Kalonzo Musyoka asks President William Ruto and Raila Odinga to fast-track the process.
Symbolizes the Inspector General's commitment to serving the country with integrity, professionalism, and dedication.
Change of guard in the security sector. The new Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, takes charge.
Wale wanaleta impeachment motion, wewe dadangu Muthoni, nilisikia hiyo siku nyingine ni walikuwa nazurura na karatasi ukitafuta signature kupeleka Rigathi nyumbani.
Jitters in the mountain. Allies of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua say they are ready to turn down impeachment motion if or when it gets to Parliament. All right, you can keep us company. Talk to us across our feedback lines. That is on EBN TV. SMS lines are open. EBN Prime Edition kicks off right now. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Now, President William Ruto has appointed Douglas Kanja as the Inspector General of the National Police Service. This follows approval by the National Assembly on Wednesday. He had earlier on been approved by the Senate after vetting, and Kanja will take over from Japheth Koome, who resigned in July. Kanja is the immediate former Deputy Inspector General of Kenya Police, and prior to his nomination by the President to become the IG, he served as the Acting Inspector General after Koome's resignation.
Inspector General's responsibility to maintain discipline within the force and ensure protection of its citizens. It represents the Inspector General's commitment to uphold the rule of law, protecting constitutional rights and ensuring justice.
To Mr. Kanja and your team, you have a very able team of commanders that will work with you. You have commanders of other services that are going to work with you as we build our security sector that is coherent, that is synergized, that is working together to secure our country, to provide safety for Kenyans, their lives, their property, their children, their investments, and to keep criminals and crooks and terrorists away from our country. You will work with your colleagues in that space as we continuously look at how to ensure that our security men and women have the space, latitude, capabilities to be able to keep our country safe.
Just hours after taking charge as the new Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja says there is no missing persons, the famous labeled Kitengela 3, and that the National Police Service are not involved in any abductions. Fronted by the DCI boss, Mohamed Amin, the security chiefs urged the public to avoid making false allegations and claims while calling for anyone with any information on abductions to come forward.
What I've gotten from our officers is that we don't have the Kitengela 3 with us. But what I know is that a report was made and we have got an active investigation on the same. And we're also urging the people of Kenya, people of goodwill, anybody with any information can still be able to come forward and probably provide us with some more information.
To profile and take the perpetrators or whoever is involved in abduction before court. It is unfortunate that we have received a lot of complaints regarding the abductions. the National Police Service is not involved in any case of abduction. Our duty and responsibility is to make sure that whoever is involved in abduction is apprehended and taken to court.
The Electoral Commission, IEBC, is a vital agency whose key functions have been hampered by the long-running failure to fully reconstitute it. It has not been possible to hold by-elections or carry out border delimitation with the Commission dysfunctional since January of 2023. Azimio's Kalonzo Musyoka and the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula have decried the delay in the reconstitution, calling on independent institutions like the judiciary to fast-track the process. Consolata Chibalonza reports.
More than 2 months after President William Samoei Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga signed into law the IEBC Act, the poll agency remains an empty shell as the recruitment process stalls. This has been facilitated by petitions filed in court with Parliament barred from forwarding names of persons nominated to the IEBC selection panel. The IEBC Amendment Act sought to constitute the commission, which has remained vacant since 2023 following the resignation of the Chair of 4 and the exit of Wafula Chebukati. Azimio's Kalonzo Musyoka is now calling on the president and the AUC candidate Raila Odinga to fast-track the recruitment process so as to have a fully functional IEBC.
The past grievances that have tainted our elections must be addressed. Election-related disputes and discontent are a sign that the public faith in the system has not yet been completely earned. They are not personal grievances. While the 2022 elections were relatively calm and orderly, they reviewed flaws that as 2027 approaches we cannot afford to overlook. These loopholes will be addressed if we implemented the NADCO recommendations on electoral justice and related matters.
IEBC operations, including by-elections, boundary review, and major procurements, have been heavily impacted by the lack of commissioners. This was echoed by National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, who called on the CJ Martha Koome to intervene so as the delimitation is done before the 2027 elections.
Because the country cannot go to the next elections without boundary review, without boundary delimitation, and without holding by-elections of the constituencies that are already vacant.
The Constitution requires that the boundaries review is done at intervals of not less than 8 years and not more than 12 years, with the last review done on the 7th of March 2012. In addition, there is a representation shortage in Parliament, with the number of constituencies having no member of Parliament. Banisa constituency has not had an MP for months. A by-election is also imminent in Ugunja after President Ruto nominated MP Opiyo Wandayi as Energy CS.
And without holding by-elections of the constituencies that are already vacant, either by way of resignation, death, or court processes. We also have many wards that have got vacancies that need to have by-elections. And as you know, the Supreme Court has directed that IEBC means commissioners and not the secretariat.
Furthermore, the people of Banisa, Kisia East, Tana River, Unguja, urgently require representation as a matter of right. The delay in reconstituting the IEBC denies them their legitimate representation in Parliament as well as the county assemblies. Also take note of the deliberate attempt by some institutions that are instrumental in the dispute resolution mechanisms to delay the reconstitution and restructuring of the IEBC.
President William Ruto is on the process of constituting the selection panel to appoint the next chairperson and commissioners of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. He is expected to use a list forwarded by the Parliamentary Service Commission after receiving the nominations of various bodies with representatives in the 9-member panel. These include Institute of Certified Public Accounts Committee, the Law Society of Kenya, Interreligious Council, Parliamentary Service Commission, and the Political Parties Liaison Committee. So far, only 3 slots have been filled successfully. Consolata Chibalonza, ABN TV.
Former Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Chibalonza, for that report. Now, a section of leaders has come to the defense of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua against attacks from a section of leaders from Mount Kenya who are planning on impeaching the Deputy President, saying the second in command is going nowhere as he was elected as a duo with President William Ruto. This comes hot on the heels of endorsements of Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki as Mount Kenya East spokesperson, a move that threatens to split the Mount Kenya voting bloc right down the middle. They spoke while in Lamu during the burial of the late Deputy Governor of Lamu, Raphael Munywa Ndungu.
Wewe Bwana Rigathi, ongea ukweli, maombi ya hawa bishop, kwa sababu mke yako ni mchungaji, ametembea hapa na tumefanyia hii siasa, tumetafutia hii serikali ya Kenya Kwanza viti. Hautatoka kama mtu ambaye ameaibishwa. Wale wanaleta impeachment motion, wewe dadangu Muthoni, nilisikia hiyo siku nyingine ni wewe ulikuwa unazurura na karatasi ukitafuta signature ya kupeleka Rigathi nyumbani. Wewe Muthama, na kuangalia wewe ni ndugu yangu. Tungetaka kujua kama nyinyi ndio mnataka kuimpeach Rigathi. Mtu anataka kupiga ndugu yake mkubwa, tunapeleka nyumbani mapema. Si ni kweli?
Kaniwaambie kwamba injili ambayo naibu rais amekuwa akihubiri ni kwamba wanamlima waungane. Naibu rais hajawahi hata siku moja, na kama kunaye aliyemsikia anikosoe, hajawahi hata siku moja kusema kwamba mlima uungane, pwani wasiungane. Jibu ni kwamba mlima waungane, pwani waungane, Nyanza waungane, halafu sote tuje tuungane kama Wakenya. Na kwa hivyo nadhani si sawa. Hata mataifa, hata bara huungana. Tuna African Union, tuna European Union, tuna United States of America. Itakuwa ni makosa ikiwa sisi kama Waafrika tutasema tuungane as African Union, halafu European Union watuambie kwamba tunafanya makosa kwa kusema sisi tuungane.
People who never wanted the deputy president to be the deputy president, but the deputy president became the deputy president by the will of God and by the votes of the Kenyan people. We want to tell them, no any strategy that they are developing of sabotaging the deputy president or even plotting anything or bringing in cheap campaign, it will not separate him with the people of the Republic of Kenya. Nataka ieleweke hivyo. The deputy president is not a deputy president by choice. He is a deputy president and he has to complete his term. So any program that they are bringing in, trying to undermine him, trying to show that he cannot work, hiyo story ni ajaba. Hiyo story iendi mahali na tunawaongojea bungeni wafike.
Thursday marked day 2 of the lecturers' strike, and union leaders have urged lecturers to keep up the pressure despite a court order issued to halt the strike. The Employment and Labor Judge, Justice Jacob Gakeri, issued the order following an application filed by the Inter-Public Universities Council's Consultative Forum of the Federation of Kenya Employers. The union's decision to strike stemmed from unresolved grievances regarding salary adjustments, working conditions, and other employment terms. Now, the University Academic Staff Union argued that these issues had been persistently ignored by university management and the government, compelling them to consider strike action as a last resort.
This strike was called On 11th of September.
Yes.
11th of September is not affected. We are not calling for any industrial action which is new. So we will abide by the court order. We will not issue another we will not issue another strike notice. We have already issued the strike notice. We issued it way back. And that court order is not retrogressive. This should be understood. So as these members stand behind me, they are in a legally protected strike.
We shall only go back to work after we strike a deal. So we shall continue in this strike as long as the government wants. So we call upon the government to hasten their feet and listen to us, negotiate with us, and be able to meet our demand.
We've been here for the last 2 days now, fighting for something that should have been sorted out in 2021. Free people are using money to travel to go and plant trees. One day, Mutu and I end up too many places. Us getting money to make us come to work is not there.
We have a CBA that is almost coming to end of the circle. We have a CBA of 2013-2017, which was never signed. We have a CBA of 2017-2021, which is ongoing and nothing positive since we gave out our proposals. We have never seen anything moving. The university as employer have never followed it up to make us know where these things have reached.
I've been told by Wasonga that we strike until a deal is struck. I was told to tell you that court order, the so-called court order, is immaterial. It was meant for Wasonga and Mukwaya. As our job is to strike. Let's strike.
Now to the House of Parliament, senators led by Minority Leader Edwin Sifuna have accused President William Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza administration of extrajudicial killings and forceful disappearances in the wake of various abduction cases reported in the country. Now, there was a heated session at the floor of the House as legislators from the Kenya Kwanza coalition dismissed the claims as unsubstantiated. At least 3 people have been reported abducted by police, even as the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli, failed to appear in court to give explanations of the disappearances.
We continue to hear him say that his is a government that observes the rule of law. Honorable Speaker, as we speak today, the Acting Inspector General of Police has been convicted and is subject to a 6-month jail term just because he's been instructed by his superiors not to honor court summons to appear to explain the disappearance of Bob Njagi, somebody that I know personally, Jamil Langton and Aslam Langton. Honorable Speaker, there is nobody who can be happy to live in a country such as this. And you can see here, from both sides of the House, no one can support these happenings in our country. Just across the border in Dar es Salaam, the police plucked somebody, an opposition leader from the Chadema party, from a moving bus in the full glare of the public. And the guy in hours turned up dead, Honorable Speaker, and his face has been disfigured by acid. We cannot be spoken to in the same terms as countries like Tanzania. Even this young MCA from Wajir was plucked from the streets of Nairobi. So, Honorable Chair, we would want that we all as leaders take a very strong position and ask William Ruto. We will not ask you about the other promises you break. Even if you don't build us the roads and the stadiums you promised us, please stop killing us. Stop abducting people and bodies showing up in quarries.
You have heard Senator Sifuna allege that William Ruto, the President of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, is killing Kenyans. Can he substantiate that claim, Mr. Speaker? Failure to which he withdraws, apologizes, Mr. Speaker, and that statement be expunged from the records of this House, Mr. Speaker.
You have been accused that your statement is bordering on some allegations.
Honorable Speaker, it's like the majority leader met me yesterday. I will stand by the truth without fear. It is the responsibility of government to protect the life of Kenyans. It is public knowledge that these people are being abducted by police officers. It is his government. So he cannot run away from the responsibility. Who are we supposed to ask? Samia Suluhu. He is the person responsible for the protection of the lives of Kenyans, and he is the one we will ask.
All right, quite the conversation at the Senate. Now, despite Kenya having a well-structured healthcare system, the end users, who are the patients, are facing challenges occasioned by delays in release of funds to various health facilities and improper coordination of information within the sector. According to a report dubbed State of Kenya's Health Market by the Ministry of Health, in coordination with the USAID and private sector engagement, now despite the country's capacity to locally manufacture healthcare products, a bigger percentage of products are imported. This is attributed to lack of price control policies, which opens the local manufacturer to unfair competition and dumping of cheaper products into the local market.
The ministry and indeed government has made lots of progress over the years. You can see for reproductive health, for say mothers, antenatal attendance has gone up, skill delivery has gone up, thanks to the interventions that the government has put in place, including Linda Mama and the like. But why is it that with all these interventions, the maternal mortality ratio has not come down?
Because of cash flow challenges, and these cash flow challenges are coming because the economy might not be doing so very well. Money is not going, for example, to NHIF on time. When money doesn't go to NHIF on time, hospitals are not paid on time. When hospitals are not paid on time, the distributors of drugs are not paid on time. If they are not paid on time, the manufacturers are not paid on time.
As much as we have made progress as a country, we are yet to reach the recommended Abuja declaration of 15%. Right now, we are at 11%, and there's much more that needs to be done. When there's a broken healthcare system, that's when you see, when the patient has been seen, sometimes they may not get products or they do not get medicine, and they're sent to the next pharmacy, either outside the public hospital.
Civil society organizations called on the new Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, to end police impunity, even as they noted that 60 civil society leaders and human rights defenders have lost their lives in the past 2 years. Chief Executive Officer of the Independent Medical Legal Unit, Wangeshi Kahuria, called for the immediate arrest of 6 police officers who allegedly attacked a multimedia university first-year student, Trevor Mureithi, and seriously injured him. Kahuria urged the new IG and the Independent Policing Oversight Authority to ensure that the 6 police officers who attacked the unarmed student are prosecuted to end impunity and defend democracy, the rule of law, and the Constitution.
ICC of Human Rights Defenders, Independent Medical Legal Unit.
The state has over the past 24 months, of course, since the coming into office in September 13th, 2022, demonstrated that they have no regard for the Constitution, independent oversight bodies, and the civil society. We have witnessed unprecedented impunity in the running of public affairs, which has therefore affected the protection of civic and democratic rights in the country.
The defiance of court orders and people's wishes by the senior state officials continue to be one of the key challenges to advancement of civil liberties in the country. We condemn this culture of impunity and expect the acting IG Masengeli will lead by example by obeying the court order and present himself to the Commissioner General of Prisons to begin serving his 6-month sentence. Failure to do so, Kenyans will expect the Interior Cabinet Secretary to initiate steps to have him committed.
Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja has assured parents are cushioned from economic distress by providing subsidized meals to public schools and to ECD schools across all the 17 sub-counties of Nairobi County, freely interacted with the school children and shared a meal during their lunch break. Governor Sakaja rolled out Dishina County Phase 3 at the opening of the 3rd term this year that bordered 60 more schools, increasing the number of schools under the program to 216. This was after the completion of an additional 7 central kitchens, bringing to the total number of kitchens to 17 and distributed across the 17 sub-counties. The county is currently feeding 310,000 children at a cost of 5 shillings paid through the Tap to Eat system.
Does anyone know why I started dishing accounting? Why? Yes.
Because you love us.
Yes, you're right. Let's clap for her. Muna enjoy hii chakula? Muna enjoy? Inakuja kila siku? Kuna mtu anakosa? No child should ever miss the food. This watch, this is the one we wear for the school feeding. And we've included technology. Using this, we can track every child who has permission to eat, any dietary restrictions. These days, you don't need to do the register. I just see this, through Tap to Eat. And so we want to expand it now to the informal schools. Because unfortunately, our city was left behind. We have very few schools in Nairobi. Many of them are in informal schools that are not recognized, that are not registered. Those children are also our children. And so we're mapping and connecting them to public primary schools. At lunchtime, they come, they eat, and then they go back to their school. That is what I'm working on, and it must work. So despite the resistance that was there, including court cases, and the judge said, "Are you chakula ya watoto? Are you mad? Who would want to stop this?" We're also working now on the infrastructure of many of our schools. Our plan is to build 1,500 new classrooms in 3 years. We're doing 5,000 for primary and ECD, but for early childhood pre-primary, we're doing 1,500, starting with 500 this year. We've started the 114. We have a plan for that. Completing stall projects in the schools that were going on. So these children, if a children does not like early childhood education center, they will not like school, in future. That their school is smelling, it is dark, it is dirty, they're hungry. If that is the introduction to education, it will be hardwired in their heart that school is not a good place to be. But if they find it is a lovely place, it is bright, there is joy, there is food, the teachers are joyful, their capacity has been built, they will love school.
Now let's get sporty. Kenya's Harambee Starlets, the junior national women's soccer team, have departed for a pre-World Cup training camp in Spain. Their participation in the Junior World Cup event in the Dominican Republic this October will mark Kenya's historic debut in a FIFA World Cup tournament, a proud moment for both the team and the nation. However, 12 players, including Claire Maris and Michelle Waithera, did not make the final roster. During their time in Spain, the junior starlets will participate in friendly matches designed to sharpen their skills and tactics ahead of their debut on the global stage. Indeed, as a nation, we are so proud of the under-17 junior starlets. We wish them all the best as they prepare for the World Cup tournament, which starts in October. They're set to play England, North Korea, and Mexico in the same group. And you never know, the underdogs could just be the main event headliners. So we wish them all the best. Well, we wrap it up at that point tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you're up to date with what is making headlines across the country. To the team behind this broadcast, who've made it a success, we say thank you very much. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Blessed evening.